You always just got to attack it when like defending. I think like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on, Ian, as the big man and the Arsenal legend just said there, people deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, in some cases, good night to my long-term supporters. One love if you're new here, or if you're not new here, make sure you're smashing the likes, you're joining the discussion where the comments are concerned, and you're hitting that like button. At 3 p.m, I'm going to have Jess, aka She Knows Arsenal, so we'll do more Arsenal chat, people. So yeah, man, the grind don't stop. You know, you would have seen yesterday a bag of live content or content from myself. So yeah, man. Again, where Arsenal are concerned, I haven't read it, and I don't know if John Cross is credible. And Mikel Arteta is going to be an interesting press conference on Friday. He's going to be asked about Mikel Moreno, going to be asked around Bukayo Saka and Martinelli's injury status, and going to be, you know, going to, I guess, be reacting to the Champions League draw, which I'm pretty sure is on Friday. So yeah, there's a lot to concern. As you know, people, if you've been under a rock in the last 24 hours, Arsenal have suffered the blow of a £65,000 fine by the FA or PGMO or an independent commission, whatever they refer to it as. So there's plenty to discuss, and we're hearing rumours of an Isaac price drop. Whether we sign him is another thing. Hugo Ekitike, once of PSG, currently playing over in Germany, is the latest striker to be linked with us. And where he's concerned, I think he's got good eye. He's like 6 foot odd, can work the channels, can play with his back to goal. I wouldn't say he's a blank canvas, but he probably made the move to a club of PSG stature way too early. He's got a certain foundation, and I can see why, you know, he'd be elite at Arsenal. I don't think his goal scoring record is amazing of current. You know, he's putting the goals in. I think he's in double figures. Don't know how much his current employers will ask, but I can see why we're linked, and I'd rather Isaac and people that we've been linked with, but I wouldn't be against signing the young French striker. So yeah, man. Use Hugo Ekitike. We'll get into it, man. Hyper, appreciate you. And in fact, why waste time, man? Let's see exactly what's going on. Like I said, I haven't read this article by John Cross. Don't know if he's in the know. Don't know if he does or whatever, yeah, people. So we'll just have to see what's being said. Now, again, Mikel Arteta is probably going to speak about Martinelli and Bukayo Saka and maybe even Tomiyasu and just the overall status on all of our players. But anyways, Arsenal handed double injury boost as potential Bukayo Saka return date confirmed. Let's hope the actual information in this article is as great as the headline. Arsenal have been without a host of attacking options for the second half of the season, but the Gunners' injury crisis has shown some early signs of easing as the title race intensifies. I therefore hope to have Saka and Martinelli back sooner rather than later. Mikel Arteta is hoping to have Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli back after the next international break. So that's in a couple of weeks, essentially. They could even return to face Fulham on Tuesday, the 1st of April, to give Arsenal's run-in a huge boost after their devastating injury list. It means Arsenal will be without Saka and Martinelli for the next 6 games, which the league, if it isn't wrapped up already, could be won or lost in there. But the hope is they will step up training during that period and they'll be ready for the business end of the campaign. We are in the business end. We all know Martinelli suffered a hamstring strain in our Carabao Cup semi-final defeat to Newcastle. And obviously he's on the sidelines. We all know Saka broke down against Crystal Palace, and he also underwent surgery on his hamstring tear in December, people. Apparently the initial prognosis was him pushing to train by the end of February and then being fit to play during March. That now looks a realistic target to allay fears that he could be out for longer, amid suggestions he could be sidelined for another 2 months. But Saka will now, over the course of the next few weeks, step up his rehab, return to training and get out onto the grass with his teammates. England have back-to-back world qualifiers with Albania and Latvia on March the 21st and 24th, respectively. Saka defo has to miss that, people. But it now looks realistic for him to play soon after, which is a massive help because Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz have already been ruled out for the remainder of the season. It should mean Arsenal will have their wingers back for the title running and also a potential Champions League quarter-final. It comes after suggestions that Saka had suffered a slight setback in his comeback, something Arteta refused to confirm ahead of the weekend win against Leicester. I think I speak for everyone where we want to see Saka back. I want him back when he's actually fully fit, so there is no setbacks. It's a peculiar situation. Whether we shot ourselves in the foot in the summer or January is another question, which I believe we did. We are without our first choice front three of Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka and Martinelli, and whatever way you want to look at it, because if everybody is fit in our team, we clearly need more bodies and more quality. You can make a case of Martinelli and Kai Havertz should be on the peripheral of things where the immediate first team's concerned. But yeah, we're injured. We're looking at using Mikel Moreno. We're relying on Raheem Sterling, the young star boy Ethan. I think Martinelli is going to be back sooner rather than later. Where Bukayo Saka's concerned, who knows, man? I wouldn't want to see Saka rush back. Neither do I, Ryan. And that's going to be the initial fears because I'm no physio. But when you've had a hamstring injury and you've been out for a long time, you do get little setbacks or little issues on the route to recovery. Now, on one hand, I guess Saka has to answer this question to the physios honestly, because obviously he wants to play and all of that. But if him in his mind thinks he's 99.9% fit and there's that other 0. whatever percentage that he feels I'm not ready to go, is Bukayo Saka necessarily going to tell the truth? But then that's a question that I can't answer, neither can you lot. But at the same time, if he's past whatever timeline they've got and tests and all of that kind of stuff, and he said he's ready to go, then what really can you do? I think we all imagine Martinelli will be back to play some part of this season. I personally think we're not seeing Saka until April, maybe even next season, but you just never know, people. And I hope we don't have the same conversations we've been having this season, next season, where the depth and the bodies are concerned, where the immediate starting 11 is concerned, all the talking points, they need to be eradicated. Nwaneri really is a phenomenal talent, man, Kwame. My friend said Marino is going to be the best striker in the league. And let's hope your friend's right, man. Like, I hope he is, because what else have we got? You know, it's sad. And I don't want to keep talking about Raheem Sterling, but Mikel Moreno or Sterling as a false nine, I think everybody, not even because of, probably because of the 2 goals against Leicester, but that's probably a better option. Like, again, the conditions aren't favourable to anyone, but young Ethan is carrying this club on his shoulders at 17. Trossard wasn't amazing over 90 minutes, but when he had a moment to show some quality for his assist from Moreno, he did. Sterling is a 30-year-old experienced player, you know, played in won trophies, played in finals, capped by England, done all of those good things. You know, you should be one of the players we, you know, can rely on to some degree in this climate. And I must admit, it's mainly you lot who have said it. Yeah. And I'm, as I say, my platform, if you lot say something and I agree with it, or you provide a different perspective, I take it in. Sterling physically looks a mess. Now, yeah, he ain't had a run of games, and that is one excuse we can give him. At the end of the day, life isn't fair. If life was fair, and from a footballing perspective, if the minutes were distributed fairly in our team, like all the defenders, midfielders, wingers, all got roughly the same amount of minutes, we'd have less points. Like, we'd have less points, simple as that, and we'd be even lower than where we are in the league table. Not that second is anything to cry about or necessarily be excited about, but he does look like he's fallen off physically. He's not rapid anymore. He does look a bit overweight. Again, Raheem Sterling's game is reliant on pace and running in behind. Like, it's not like it's a thing where you're an intelligent, skillful player, great in tight spaces, and you've got pace, where you've lost the pace now, you can still affect the game. And I don't think we play to Sterling's strengths. Not that we should. I just, like, you know how Mikel Arteta sets things up. I hope Sterling can get on a run, man. You know, regardless of how the season pans out, you'd love to see in his little run out, he gets a game, really, and takes his chances. At the same time, it's interesting for Sterling because I don't think you're going to the World Cup, but you could say, you know, as long as you're eligible, you've got a chance, right? Next season is vital for you. I don't think Arsenal are going to sign you permanently, but weirder things have happened. I don't think you're going to have a future at Chelsea, but weirder things have happened. With your current form, I hardly imagine anyone's going to be, you know, queuing up to buy Sterling, but the least he could do is put himself in the shop window because it's a pivotal summer for him. And it is what it is, man. DG is working overtime with these shows. Well done, G. I'm trying, man. Sterling has been playing top football in the toughest league in the world for 13 years. He's just not up to it anymore. Not necessarily his fault, which is a good point. And I know, you know, you look at Cesc Fabregas, you look at Wayne Rooney, you look at a few of them that started at 16, 17. When they get to the other side, this is kind of a regular theme. I ain't really got exceptions to the rule off the top of my head, but James Milner probably be the first one. Like, James Milner, he's still I think he's injured at the moment, but he's still going strong, kind of thing. I don't know how you look at it. And naturally, people are going to say, well, hang on, DG, you know, Lewis Skelly and Ethan are playing at 17, and we hope they have long careers at Arsenal and in general. Saka's been playing since 17, and what's going to be the case with him? It'd be an interesting one to see, man. It really would. Sometimes I think it's down to how you play, your strengths, your rehabilitation, how you recover, how you look after yourself. Now, I can't say, I don't know how Sterling looks after himself, but physically he looks poor. But at the same time, when you're not playing, you're not going to necessarily be sharp. Yeah, you can train and all of that, but you're not going to be sharp. But as I said, the conditions are not favourable to anyone in this Arsenal team at this moment in time. You're asking Mikel Moreno to do a job up front, whatever you say about him. And yes, he scored against Leicester. He's not a striker. We're asking Trossard to keep going, and he's probably spent. We're putting a lot of expectation on Ethan and obviously Miles Lewis-Skelly. It is what it is. It really is what it is. You've got your chance now. If life, again, going back to favourable conditions, if everything was favourable, you wouldn't want when Saka came through or Ethan and MLS to come through in these conditions. But this is what football is, man. Was Sterling really ever that good, or was he overhyped in a world-class City side? I don't think he was overhyped. I think he's a player with evident limitations. Pep Guardiola played to his strengths. I'm sure he's part of the 100 club. Whatever you say about Raheem Sterling, he's been at Chelsea, he's been at Liverpool, he's been at City, he's been at Arsenal. He's coped with a lot of media pressure and speculation since 16, 17. He's had a really good career, man. I just think Sterling's a high-volume player. Like, he's a final action, high-volume player. You mentioned, what I mean by that is you just want him running in behind. You want to see Odegaard and whoever create something. Sterling running behind. You've got two options. Do you cross? Do you finish? If he doesn't finish, there's question marks. Sterling, in terms of build-up play, is appalling. He's quite predictable. And it's not what Sterling used to be. I know a lot of Arsenal fans, it's more hopium and copium, said, you know what, Mikel Arteta knows him. Some Arsenal fans like to do that thing where you look at Rashford or Sterling or to a degree Kai Havertz, anyone that's down on their luck, Arteta can save them kind of thing. And it ain't helped with Sterling. We've got to be brutally honest. Sterling was a relationship of convenience. We were scrambling around on deadline day because we couldn't get a striker and a winger and all those things. Sterling had one foot out the door with Chelsea. Mikel Arteta knows him, knows he's not a bad apple, knows of his quality. We brought him in. The loan made sense financially. It is what it is. He weren't a level raiser. If anything, he's probably replaced Raheem Sterling. He's probably just replaced Reece Nelson in terms of minutes, really. And 9 times out of 10, you saw him on the right-hand side. If I had to look at some highlights from Sterling, I'm sure Crystal Palace in the League Cup, you done all right. I'm sure there's a next game in the Prem in your cameo did all right. Maybe United, but then you're scratching your head, really. Like, it is what it is. Unfortunately, with Sterling, I'd say the best thing about Raheem is that we have not bought him permanently, which is sad to say. We need to let Saka rest, man. They shouldn't force him back. Arsenal and England will need him to fully recover. Amen. But I think Saka's going to force himself back, man. I know you're not saying this, but many people say footballers don't care and whatnot. Saka's a poster boy. He's one of the captains. We've seen wear the armband. Obviously, he was in a good run of form. Could have, we'll never know now, could have equaled or bettered the assist record before his injury. I reckon he's going to be pushing. It's just like Benjamin White. Like, Benjamin White's known to lie about his injuries. We've seen the documentaries with Rob Holding and all of that. He's known to do that. So I do think we need to save Saka from himself, but I think it's one where Saka's probably going to have to be honest with himself. You know, like I said, if I'm Saka and you lot are the physio and you say, "Oh, DG Saka, are you fit?" I'm going to tell you yes, because I've passed your little physio test, I've passed your rehab schedule, but in my head, I might be 99.9% fit, sure that I'm fit, but there might be that percentage where I know in my heart I'm not fully fit. Now, obviously, you could play and everything's happy, nothing happens. But if you suffer a setback, where's the issue? I do think we'll be quite cautious with Bukayo Saka. We have rushed players back, but equally, there's been times, mainly Saliba 2 years ago, where we're told the players coming back and they're not. As I said, for me, I don't think we see Saka until April and whatnot. But I hope that he's fully fit. There's no setbacks in his rehab, etc. Because to have any hope of this Premier League, even though the chances are, to even describe our Premier League chances as slim is probably even overdoing it, or to have any hope in the champs, we need our poster boy, innit? Can Ethan Wanyeri, DG, can he also play as a left winger? I reckon he can do it. For 3 years, Sterling was given a goal every 2 games. Now he's 1 goal in 18. Chelsea ruined him, man. The funniest bit is Sterling not scoring the chances he gets is messing him up. He probably should have at least 4 goals by now, just to have hope he comes through when we need it the most. Amen. DG using Brave browser to block the ads. I'm just using Brave browser, mate. Was Sterling ever sorry, seen that already. But yeah, man, we're just I do think that's a good point. I think Sterling's lacking confidence. Like I said, we ain't got really time to necessarily care who's lacking confidence. You got to find right at that point in the season, you got to find out yourself. But you do get the feeling, not to say he's going to do a madness, but maybe 1 goal can kick on things. And there has been times in his career where you're thinking, raw, what's going on, Sterling? Like there was an everybody eats game. What was it, Bolton or Preston? Everybody was Jesus, everybody was scoring apart from Raheem. In fact, that's probably Raheem's only positives. Is he looks decent when he's linking up with Ethan. Again, we've been linked with Frankfurt's Hugo Ekitike, people. He's subject of Premier League interest. Hugo Ekitike never made the move to PSG work. The French youth international looked bereft of confidence after trading formative club Stade de Reims for the Parc de France back in the summer of 2023. The 18 months and only 4 goals later, he joined Frankfurt initially on loan, smashed the like button before making the move permanent in the summer. In 48 appearances for the Bundesliga side, he already has 29 goal contributions, in brackets 21 goals and 8 assists. That would be decent at Arsenal. 23 of which, in brackets 17 goals and 6 assists, have come during the current campaign. His return to form in Germany has not gone unnoticed. As per a report from RMC Sport journalist Fabrice Hawkins, Ekitike is the subject of interest from at least 3 Premier League clubs. The journalist added that the centre forward is a player to watch during the summer transfer window, with Frankfurt braced for approaches for their prolific striker. For a variety of reasons, half of the Premier League need a forward, really and truly, like us. So it doesn't surprise me that we'll be linked with him. Whether he leaves is another thing. We all know where the striker market is. Whether he's the top target, I don't know. You'd imagine we're going to go for Sesko. I think Sesko's the one that we're going to get. There's hope for Isaac. Other than that, we're going to have to explore the Yokerezes, the Osimhens, the Hugos. At 22 years of age, you made the move to PSG too early, really. So it's an issue. Obviously, he's shown he can score goals. He's 6 foot odd, so there's an aerial threat in that regards. I think he can play with his back to goal. He can work the channels. I think he shows me a relative decent amount of being able to finish with both feet. I think his general play is decent. I'm not going to sit here and say I think he's amazing, but I think there's a foundation to work with, if I'm honest. I don't know if this will correlate to the Premier League. I don't know after, doing his thing at Reims, going to PSG probably too early. Frankfurt, you're finally playing on a regular basis. Your confidence is back, all of that kind of stuff. I don't know if you want to move now, especially because this summer coming, it's going to be a World Cup kind of year. Now, leaving and joining a Premier League team could boost your World Cup chances, and where he's playing for France, in it, we all know their attackers, or it could harm it, really. So could it make sense to just keep playing, keep enjoying your football and whatnot? Now, obviously, Arsenal, we've got a history with we've got a historic French ties in a variety of reasons. We have a young-ish kind of squad. We need a forward. It would make sense. Says nothing on the asking price, though. So I don't know how much they're going to ask for. And again, being interested or scouting doesn't necessarily mean we're going to go for these players, but it doesn't surprise me that Chelsea have been linked. Chelsea need a forward, and they've been linked with almost the same guys as us the same. You could say United as well. Allegedly, Arsenal and Chelsea are majorly considering Eintracht Frankfurt striker Hugo Ekitike as an alternative to Alexander Isak for the forthcoming summer transfer window. Spare a thought for Frankfurt. You've just lost Marmoush mid-season, and you could be losing this guy, people. Frankfurt do seem to get some decent players. Didn't they have Koulibaly as well? Obviously, it didn't bank for him when he ironically went to PSG. The Gunners are on the lookout for an elite signing for the 9 position, and like the Blues, they believe that a deal for the Frankfurt player could be a cheaper alternative than some of the players out there, such as Isaac or Sesko of Leipzig. We'll have to see. Apparently, Marmoush cost 59 million. So how much would Hugo cost? I'm not sure. Apparently, their sporting director said recently, "We are very happy with Hugo's development. He fits in really well with us and has made great progress in just 1 year. He already has an exceptional scoring rate. He has the potential to become an absolute top striker in Europe. He still has to work on his determination. Sometimes he's too playful. We also still have issues when defending the ball, but he's on the right track." Now, you're young enough to be taught that. And of course, if a striker comes in, we need him to bag goals. That's the main thing we care about. But in the modern day, you need to be able to run and work. And a striker, is almost our first defender. So for me to hear that you've got issues defending the ball, that's almost a red flag for Arteta. But that could be worked on. At 22 years of age, yeah, you can improve your finishing, but you're not going to go up the gears too much of a technical level. You look at Raheem Sterling. If you're not, you see the way Sterling kind of plays even when he's in form. If that's you at 16, 17 from a technical aspect, you're not going to change beyond that. But you can improve off the ball. So that can be improved. Determination, I don't know. I mean, sometimes people just need to kick up the backside and to like the penny to drop. But young, determined, been at PSG, not made it work. You know, being a bit too playful. I guess you're young. That I just see that as you enjoy your football. These are things to work on. But yeah, and I guess the thing with him is he's obviously been on the scene for a while. He's obviously a talented player. Smash the like button, people. But this is probably of recent years his first real strong goal scoring campaign. So is it a thing where it's a purple patch? Is it a thing where he's announced himself to the world now and we'll see a couple of seasons like this? I don't know. But whether we don't sign players like we've done, whether we overpay for players, whatever, every signing's a risk in it. So it'll be interesting to see where we go with this and if we actually go for him, man. Over 100 people here. Please hit the like for our bro DG Fire. Tell them again. Hugo Ekitike is the next Isaac type. And that's why I'm kind of on it, because you go into 2022, go back to 2022. I'm sure you asked Newcastle fans, they probably would have said, yo, why are you spending that money on Isaac? Who is Isaac? They're Uman and Arin. It's fair to say it worked. And I say this all the time, and I'm probably a broken record, but for me, we've got a couple of options. You know, you either get these players, you know, the Isaacs, in his case, Hugo, the Isaacs, all of them, kind of any striker that we're linked with, like the top strikers, you either get them before, in Isaac's case, he ends up at Newcastle, and unless you're going to pay dumb money, you're not going to get. You either say, okay, we don't necessarily want to develop these guys. They can make their first 1 or 2 steps in football. We'll pay the 100 million, the 120 million, whatever it is. So you either scout, be proactive in scouting, you either pay the going asking price, or, you know, you scout and find players that can help you, but are not going to break the budget. Or you do what we done in January and just sit on our backsides and do nothing, essentially. So you are right. And strikers, I would say for me, strikers and centre-backs are a bit weird because they peak late. There's bare strikers that you don't think too much of, and later years, they go and do things. In an ideal world, you know, whether it's Isaac, which would be my dream, Sesko, which I think we're going to make a big big goal at trying to get him. Hugo, if you could get him and then Buemo for me, I'd be happy with our attacking options, man. We should grab the opportunity to sign Osimhen. He shouldn't join Man United. I like Osimhen from a footballing perspective, but I don't think he provides enough longevity. I think the wages and the commission that his agent wants, I just don't think Arsenal are going to go do it. I'll be happy if we get him. Don't get twisted. I just don't think we're going to do it. And I can't hold this against Osimhen, right? But where you look at this, a bit like how Ivan Toney ended up in Saudi, which he's getting paid. But you look at, you could include Ivan Toney, but let's focus on Osimhen. Going into not last summer, right? Osimhen, everybody wanted strikers. Several clubs wanted strikers. Osimhen seemed like he would move. Napoli even gave him a new deal to kind of tailor it, right? But he was linked with Arsenal, who evidently need a 9. Chelsea, who have more money than sense. Man United, even Spurs. I can't comment on this because I don't work in football, but why did no one move for Osimhen? Respectfully to Osimhen, you can't go from PSG links, Arsenal links, Chelsea links. I didn't even believe at the time, but City United links, and then you end up in Turkey. Like, what's gone on? Like, is there something wrong with him or something that's not known to the footballing world? Winning a title with Mbeumo. Mbeumo will be good for the squad, man. I'm cool with Mbeumo. He'd be lit. You know, you look at, I'm sure people, it's very different, but you look at half the players Liverpool bought at the time, people were probably laughing at them. What are you buying a Chelsea flop with Salah? Fair to say that worked out. What are you buying Ronaldo for? What are you buying Robertson for? Why are you buying Mane? He plays for Southampton, and there's plenty of others. You buy correctly, players come from wherever. Of course, I would love 11 players from either coming from the academy or sign for 100 odd million. Just get the players that help us. Aaron, I know you're still kind of new here. Big up yourself. You ain't seen the best of me. Has backfired a little bit, unfortunately. It has. It therefore has with Raheem Sterling. You know, I'm not going to kill a man because I'd rather you say that and fall flat on your face than say something soft and then look scared. It just hasn't worked out. And the alarm bells were there for evident reasons with Raheem Sterling. But I'd say the biggest one for me was the red flag. Is actually nothing to do with Raheem Sterling. Do you remember when we signed Raheem Sterling and Edu said, to be fair, this isn't something we plan to do? When did you ever hear Arsenal or anyone connected to Edu or in those positions say stuff like that? We're at where we're at with Raheem, man. DG, did you look at Jonathan David on Transfer Mark? No, I didn't. But yeah, man, just come clean. Just come clean and say you're his agent. What do you genuinely think the club will do? Because I feel like they'll just do some dirty work and give us Sesko and some bum midfielder. I'll say the ideal world first. In the ideal world, for me, obviously, I don't make the decisions. I'd like a striker. I'd like a left winger. I'd like one central midfielder as a minimum. I would like 2 if you don't give Partey a new deal personally. I think we need a couple of goalies, second and third choice. And once you get beyond that, like, they're the priorities, I would say. But once you get beyond that, if you can bring me another versatile defender of the Timber and Tomiyasu ilk, I'm on that. And I still think it's a priority, but like if you could get someone that kind of plays in Odegaard's role that could do a thing, fair play in it, I would say that. Now, what I think we're gonna do, obviously, we haven't seen Ethan play on the left, and we're probably not gonna sign a winger that predominantly plays on the right. I genuinely think the club are gonna say, you know what, with Ethan, he's played as a 10, can play on, we probably could play on the left, can deputize / compete somewhat with Saka. I think we're gonna sign a striker. I don't think we're gonna sign a winger. Probably only going to sign one central midfielder. I'd like to imagine we get at least 2 goalies, like an experienced guy, 2 kind of experienced players. And then I guess you're kind of reliant on who leaves. You know, we said it yesterday. We can all sit here and say the players we would let go or the players we think are going to go, but we all know there's a variety of factors. And I do think the club have to do everything, but I think we can all recognize where football's concerned. No football club is going to buy everything that they need, sell everything that they need, but it needs to be a significant sum. We need to, at the very minimum, make the 2 to 3 to 4 signings that improve that starting 11. We need to look after the depth. And obviously, you know, we need to reach a conclusion, if we haven't already, on what we're doing with Jorginho, Partey, long-term Saliba, Gabriel, Martinelli, Bukayo, Saka. Obviously, Ethan and Lewis Skelly, you would imagine they're in line for new deals. So yeah, and obviously just try. Like, there's a lot of sales that we need to get doing. You'd imagine Zinchenko's gone. Zinni would still have a year or 2 on his contract. Again, you're reliant on Zinchenko wanting to leave. He might say, I'm happy in London. I'm happy in the squad. I think, yeah, I'm not playing minutes, but I reckon I can get my spot back. You would imagine Zinchenko's gone. And also you got to remember, maybe Arsenal don't get an asking price that they think is good, innit? So I would say you can make a case for Zinchenko. It all depends what Kivior wants to do. I don't mind you staying and being a role player, but you're always linked with Italian clubs. You might be a player that we make a little profit or could fetch something for, and he might want to leave. So you got him. You can't really sell an injured player in it, but being devil's advocate, if the club say, you know what, Tomiyasu, we can't bet on you anymore, safe, that's him. Who else? You know, Tierney's on 100 grand a week. He's gone. Reece Nelson, we're going to have to deal with that. He's on like 100 odd grand. Fabio Vieira hardly pulling up any trees at Porto, considering the fact that we couldn't buy any players, we didn't do anything in the loan market. We let the window pass without activating the window to bring back Fabio Vieira. He's hardly been amazing at Porto. What are we going to do there? I think Tavares' loan is an obligation, isn't it? So I think he's more or less a Lazio player. But if he's not, add him to the list. Lokonga came out the other day and said, I want to stay at Sevilla. But again, the deals have to make sense. He's got a year left on his deal, and it's a World Cup year for him. If he wants to go and play for Belgium, he needs to F off. Who else is there? There's a couple other players. There's a couple other players that I'm forgetting about at this moment in time. But you get the point. There's a lot to do. A third choice goalie can be Neto on a 3 or something. I'm on that if Neto wants to do that. I literally don't want to see Neto play again. I don't want to kill a man for one game. But brother, what was you doing against Girona? But that would be it. And again, it seems like we want that Espanyol guy, Juan Garcia. I said it the last time. Like, again, let's look at him quickly before we carry on with the Hugo Ekitike thing. Big up you lot for you lot's talking points. Let's Juan Garcia. Let's try find him there because we're on the topic of goalies. What's going on here? Well, they can't find him. Well, I've spelled it wrong. Espanyol. Come on, man. Don't put me under pressure. I'm live, man. I'm live. Okay, there he is. Okay. Now, yeah, you hear he's got this here has a release clause of 20 odd million. Again, we are not transfer dons. And I'm not good. You lot can say it if you want, but I don't know what budget we're working with and what we're not. Because on one hand, it seems like Arsenal broke. On the other hand, it seems like we've got money. We're just not spending it. I don't know, man. We leave that to the accountants, right? But where you look at, we don't know if we're necessarily going to get these guys, but we're linked with Nico Williams, Garcia, Zubimendi, Benjamin Sesko. They've all got release clauses. Now, if you activate those release clauses, you have to pay it all in one go. We know our club, we don't operate like that. We know we can't go like that. We know we need to make sure things work. So is it a thing we're targeting these players because we've assessed that they're good, they tie in with the culture of what we're trying to do, but we're on this, you know what we know is release clause. We've got a ballpark figure. Like, we'll give you, his release clause might be 20 million. We'll give you that. We'll give you a bit more than 20 million. Just let us pay the payments how we want to kind of pay it. Is that our strategy? I don't know. But looking at this guy, he's 23. He's 23. And we looked at it. We've actually done this before. Now, I'm not going to act like I watched this shoot. Seen him 1-2 times. Don't know him religiously. If this is who they want, it is what it is. You know, he's 23 years of age, played 53 times for Espanyol, played only 27 times in La Liga, played 14 times in the second division in La Liga. He has been tipped as a future Spanish goalkeeper in the full national team, but at this moment in time, he's only capped the 21s level and obviously won the Olympics with them. Now, if you look at him, he's only just really in the last 2 years starting games for Espanyol. Like this season, we saw he played 24 times. I don't know why it's not saying information available here. Okay, he only played 14 times in the second division, people. The year before that, 2022-23, where were you? And he is young for a goal. He played 1 time in La Liga and 3 times in the Cup. We'll go back to 1 more year. We'll go back 1 more year. So 4 times. So he's only really just starting to play consistent first team football and being the number 1. Yes, you've seen occasions like Edison and Ortega, you know, there's the Brighton keepers where managers will rotate their goalies, but generally I'm not comfortable with that. I don't think Arteta is going to do that. I think anyone that understands football knows, pardon my language, he was chatting shit about doing that with Ramsdale, rightly or wrongly. You can never rule out Mikel Arteta's track records with goalies. We've just made David Raya's space permanent. I was actually watching Raya saves yesterday. He's actually saved our bacon more times than he's being given credit for this season, but we just bought David Raya. We know Arteta bins keepers quickly, but we just bought David Raya. He's in his late 20s, which is still young for a goalie. If we do commit 20 million to this guy, you could argue in the next year or 2, if he's good enough, he might take Raya's spot, or he might just be a number 2. And if we see him as a number 2 and he sees himself as a number 1, how long is he going to want to sit on the bench for Arsenal Football Club after he's just starting to play? I don't know. Third choice keeper, I'm with you. If you could get... I don't really want a young player to do it, really. Obviously, a young player can make up the numbers, but I'd rather the Tommy Setfords, the Karl Heinz, these kind of guys, either in Karl Heinz's case, be sold permanently. I don't think you're going to make the grade here. Or go and play and get minutes and become like an asset to the football club. It's a bit different because Karl Heinz, like David Raya, technically counts as homegrown, but I don't know, people, if I'm honest with you. But I'm going off on a tangent there. So yeah, man, the summer, I hope we do what we need to do in the summer. Where we look at Mr. Hugo's stats, and stats on everything. I mean, 21 games in the Bundesliga, 12 goals and 3 assists. Let's go all comps as well, see if it boosts it up a bit. 17 goals, 6 assists in 32 games. Obviously, he's 22, turning 23 later this year, which Wenger said is when you finally start asserting yourself. But he's still young, and obviously because of the PSG move, essentially he's still playing catch up in terms of his development. Like he's played 52 times in Liga, 35 times in the Bundesliga, and got 16 goals. So this is this current campaign. Where you look at it by a club basis, 48 appearances for Frankfurt, 21 goals. PSG, again, I think it's a bit like Gravenberch and Tell going to Bayern Munich. These young players probably make these moves a bit too early. You could even say Endrick at this moment in time with Real Madrid or Arda Güler, right? But he played 33 times. It didn't really work out. Only got 4 goals and 4 assists. And we're just, for the case of this, we all know at PSG, he weren't really getting 90-minute games, but it makes it a bit easier. Let's just assume such. So my point of saying this is, he's clearly young, talented, and you might have to gamble on these guys before they become household names, a bit like Isaac. But is it a purple patch season, or is he now been given a platform and he's here to stay? And then if we are going to gamble, what's the price tag? I don't know. I think I've seen enough to say, I'll mess with him, but yeah, I'd rather do the other stuff. I followed Ekitike from his Rems days when they had all the young G's like Makubu, Kawafi, him, and Kobal. But the Ekitike I'm seeing now is moving different. He didn't have much flair. From what I heard, Academy strikers out on loan. Can't verify though. Huh? Hugo is a baller. Big up DG. Big up yourself, my dude. Arsenal have to pay a good salary to keep him happy as a second choice goalkeeper. I think we can do that for 3-4 years. After that, it's up to Raya how he's performing, or Garcia might have to leave. If he is itching for first team football, is he really gonna do that? Apparently, we're talking to his camp again. We saw it in the Athletic. He's got the same agent as Morata, who apparently was linked with us during the summer. Sterling doesn't run fast enough to get injured. Harsh. It's not harsh because he's had an injury. Trossard won't get injured. His peak, if he goes down, he just can't get injured. He becomes second goalkeeper and probably will compete with Raya later on. He can compete with Raya. Bro, Garcia is good, though. Fair enough, man. Garcia standing out playing for a really poor side, which is why he doesn't have many clean sheets. It's a smart signing, whoever gets this guy. Osman is my man. Man United will ruin him. Arsenal will keep him. Straight hand. Bro, I think we get the players. we want. I think last summer Arsenal didn't force the issue, but this year most of the players we want are genuinely open for a move. So I hope come the end of the window, we are not talking about depth. We're not talking about striker. We're not talking about a winger. Nico Williams will go to Barca, guys. Nico Williams is trash anyways. Garcia had a world-class performance against Madrid, but that's all I've seen from him. Man, Tommy here is harsh, man. Tommy Asu took a gap here. I reckon, and I don't mind being proved wrong, a striker, right winger, and left winger and centre mid. We're not signing the right winger. We might sign a left winger who can play on the right, but I don't think we're signing, like, we're not going to sign a Rafinha or Kudus for obvious reasons because they're predominantly on the right. You've got Saka there. It's not going to happen. Zini better in midfield, but players in front of him. I disagree with that. I think in this current climate, he can play in midfield, but I think you're a fullback for a reason. I think if you go to sleep at left back, it's a crime scene in the modern day in midfield. And I really think it's his athleticism. On the ball, what you'd expect from a midfielder. Of course, Zid's got that, but there's got to be a reason. The best modern day gaffer in Pep Guardiola has not played you there, didn't play you there. There's got to be a reason Arteta ain't, essentially. There's got to be a reason you played there for Ukraine. Sinful DG, go Google Jonathan David right now. Go through his transfer bar pages. Allow me, man. Allow me. So, yeah, 2024-25, he's got that. Last season, what did he do? Got 4 goals in 14 appearances in Liga, but then again, he did just join. The year before that, what did you do? Bearing in mind, he is only 22, turning 23. He played 32 times for PSG in total, 4 goals, 4 assists. Again, only played 1,000 odd minutes. So that tells me, look, again, to be fair, you're not really going to certify yourself, really, but you did get game time to a suitable standard there. It didn't work. Boy. And in Liga, he did, well, when he was playing for Reims, he did get 10 goals and 4 assists in 24. So there's potential there with him, man. Where Isaac is concerned, I'm sure you would have seen yesterday people that apparently they're prepared, they being Newcastle, to drop their asking price, and it will cost around 100 million. And then where Newcastle's concerned, just before I came online with you lot now, people, apparently Newcastle will not sanction sales of their top stars, even if they fail to qualify for the Champions League, as the Magpies expect to show renewed ambition in the transfer market this summer, naturally. And to be fair with you, I do think they're building something special. Newcastle will not allow their best players to leave if they miss out on Champions League football this season, which I don't think they will, especially if there's 5 places. Sending a clear and robust message to rival clubs, intermediaries, and their own dressing room. After a run of 3 defeats in 4 Premier League games, Eddie Howe's side have fallen out of the top 5 places, and that will qualify for Europe's top competition. This has given rise to fresh talk in football circles of interest in Isaac, Gordon, and Gomares. Good players are always going to be interested. Liverpool were apparently sniffing around Gordon in the summer. He's obviously signed a new contract. I'm sure they're dying to commit Isaac to new terms. And Gomares seems like he's quite comfortable in Newcastle. Although I do think if they had to sell one of these 3 or Tonali, I think Gomares would be the one they sell. I think because of homegrown rule, I don't think they'll sell Gordon. And I think they'll fight tooth and nail before they consider selling Isaac, unless Isaac makes it abundantly clear, listen, no new contract, I'm leaving. And at some point, they're going to just have to bite the bullet. However, because the club will enter the summer in a strong position from a PSR perspective and have all of their most valuable players on long-term contracts, there is no appetite or need to let any of them leave should they ask to do so. Rather, it is the wish and intent of the club to keep the bulk of the squad together and to add to it before next season, regardless of where they're playing European football, which is fair because they could sit there and say to Isaac, we'll give you a good contract with good money. The fans adore you. We've got an exciting project at Newcastle. This is what I'll be saying if I was Newcastle. You look at our owners, you look at Arsenal's owners, you can see the intention. Yeah, they've got a good manager and a good project and a good bunch of lads and the Sociedad alumni and people you've worked with. But Newcastle have an owner that once they can flex their muscles are going to flex it. They've got a good manager. They could sit there and say to him, at the very minimum, give us 1 more season. The only thing that tips the balance is if Isaac burns his bridges, which ain't going to happen anytime soon, or his contract runs down. Like at this moment in time, he's got 3 years left. When you've got 2 or 1 year, then Newcastle might have to bite the bullet. But I reckon they get him to sign a new deal. For any players who have the ambition to play in the Champions League, the message is clear. You have to earn it here. Fair enough. Everyone's got an asking price though. But yeah, so Newcastle won't be selling players. Well, they will be selling players, just not the ones that you'd want. Liverpool are on the case where Isaac's concerned. Apparently, Ancelotti sees him as the perfect addition. Now, even FFG, are they going to commit, assuming that it all happens? Are they going to get Salah, Trent, and Van Dijk on new terms? Obviously, spend 100 odd million on Isaac And Liverpool don't have the biggest of squads, and I'm sure there's other things they need to do, like a left back, for example. I don't know. It's just paper talk, man. He ain't going nowhere. Speaking of paper talk, Arsenal and United apparently are watching Fenerbahce striker El Nesri. We've been linked with him for about 20 years, man. You're about to see the best of me. What's going on there, Sterling? Still not seen that. Again, Isaac still has 3.5 years remaining on his contract. So to say Newcastle are in a strong place from a negotiating perspective is an understatement. What's Romano said over new talks for our Hay lenders? Apparently, talks progressing well over new contracts for Miles Lewis-Skelly and Ethan Nwaneri, which is music to my ears. Apparently, Thomas Tuchel is monitoring the duo. So, yeah, you lot keep doing what you're doing and everything falls into place. The likes of Arsenal and Chelsea have been told by Borussia Dortmund that will take upwards of 80 million to land Jamie Gittins this summer. The English winger has enjoyed a breakout year with the German side, and a number of clubs in the Premier League are now looking to bring him home. Gittins has 16 goal involvements across 33 appearances, with interest in him growing. Dortmund have endured a poor season and are in the bottom half of the Bundesliga, having sacked Nuri Sahin as their manager. It means failing to qualify for the Champions League could force them into selling one of their prized assets. Berlin through reports that those at the club won't be letting Gittins leave on the cheap and are likely to demand a fee of 100 million euros, 83 million, if they see the 20-year-old who was in Chelsea and Man City's academy leave the club, and Reading. Good player. I just don't think we're spending that on, I wouldn't say unproven talent, but ain't really got a body of work. I don't buy it's, when we're linked with Diamande, with in this case Heinsohn of Bournemouth or Gurhey. I don't think if Arsenal bring in a defender, unless Saliba goes, we're spending money on a big ticket item. But you're seeing what he's doing at Bournemouth. Juventus, big L. How you decided to let this guy leave, I don't know. But one man's trash is another man's treasure. He's been linked with a bunch of clubs. Apparently, he's got 50 million asking price over his head. And, where Kluivert's concerned, Kirkes is concerned, the centre-back in question is concerned, Semenyo, maybe even the manager, Areola, because he's doing quite good. Bournemouth might face their own summer of speculation over where futures of players / the manager lie. Arsene Wenger has compared Ethan to Cesc Fabregas and praised him. I mean, what bigger praise is that? We're still being linked with Matteo Retugi of Atalanta. Apparently, we are reportedly interested in the Atalanta star this summer, according to Courtside. We've already approached the Serie A club about signing the forward. Bring Lookman home, man. He's got 23 goals, people, and leads the Golden Boot race in the Italian top flight. Arsenal aren't alone. Apparently, Manchester United and Aston Villa, as well as Juventus, Napoli, and Paris Saint-Germain, are all assessing the 25-year-old. Arsenal interested in Florian Wirtz. I'm interested in Kelly Rowland. It don't mean I'm going to do what I need to do with her. Unless you're watching, shout me. Sexiest Arsenal content creator there is. I'd love Florian Wirtz. But if it's put up or shut, he's going to have a pick of clubs. Everyone's going to be interested. If you put the money down, you've got a chance. But for me, I reckon he ends up at City or Real Madrid one day. Anyways, Arsenal are reportedly one of the clubs interested in signing Bayern Leverkusen star Florian Wirtz, according to TBR Football. The Gunners are fans of the Germany international and have been in contact with Wirtz's reps over a potential deal. And he could even go Bayern Munich as well. However, Arsenal are mentioned in the report as being joined by Liverpool and Manchester City, who are also interested in signing the 21-year-old in the summer. The report claims that Wirtz is likely to leave Leverkusen at the end of the season amid interest from Arsenal. It's also been reported that Real Madrid are the most likely destination for Wirtz, even though the Gunners are keen on bringing the player to the Emirates Stadium. Bye. Wirtz is widely regarded as one of the most talented players in Europe, never mind the Bundesliga. At 21 years of age, Wirtz has already won a league title and will have ambitions to do so the same again in the future, which could explain why a club of Real Madrid's stature will be appealing. If a move to La Liga Giants does not materialize, though, Arsenal will hope they can beat the likes of Liverpool and City to his signature in the summer. This is dependent on if the reported interest turns out to be genuine, which remains to be seen at this stage. So you're just wassing it, essentially, really. Arsenal deal to sign Martin Zubimendi hits huge stumbling block. Zubimendi's proposed move to Arsenal in the summer has hit a huge stumbling block after Real Madrid joined the race for his signature. We've heard this before, and there's equal reports that we're confident. At this point, I don't really care about Zubimendi until it's become apparent that he signs for Arsenal. And apparently, Arsenal have flown his reps into London to carry on talks, people, as you can see here. Apparently, we saw this yesterday, but apparently Arteta, or better yet, Arteta's side, Arsenal, have now struck an agreement with Zubimendi on a 4-year contract, having already held advanced talks over a summer transfer. That's great. Do all that you want to do. But until I see it on Sky Sports at the yellow bar, he's holding an Arsenal shirt or he's been pictured going into London goalie, I'm more than happy to entertain the talking points, but it's a myth. At this moment, we're all aware of Zubamendi, what he's done, his exploits, etc. This is said we're confident of a Zubamendi deal, and obviously it's talking about Sesko people. Arsenal are confident of landing Martin Zubamendi after talks with the player's agent. Chelsea make impossible to refuse Nico Williams' bid. He's already decided he wants to join Arsenal this summer, but that is not about to stop the Blues making a bid for him. Arteta has been told he could use a big money summer signing as a makeshift. No one don't care about that. Nobody don't care about that. And apparently Newcastle have agreed to sell Isaac if they receive an offer in excess of 100 million euros. That's about 80 odd million quid. It's not too much profit on the big money they spent for him. We've gone over the vert stuff already, so I'm not going to waste you lot's time with that. What's this? Arsenal fined for reaction to Lewis Skelly red card. If you didn't know, we've been fined £65,000 for failing to control our players after Lewis Skelly was sent off during the Premier League win at Wolves, even though they rescinded the red card. Players are not allowed to say, referee, you've made a mistake. Fair enough. They had to get us on something. We've gone over the Ratigi stuff already. Lewis Skelly and Ethan on a different level. Romano, I don't need you to tell me that about them. In relation to our opponents on Friday, you know, the Champions League draw will be made, so we see who we could potentially face. As a result of finishing third in the league phase, Arsenal will either face the winners of the knockout phase playoff between the 13th and 14th seeds or the 19th and 20th seeds, which are AC Milan, Feyenoord, Juventus or PSV, with the second legs being played across Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. February the 18th and 19th, Arsenal's potential opponents will be whittled down to two. Feyenoord beat AC Milan 1-0 in their first leg, while Juventus hold a 2-1 lead heading into the second leg. Arsenal will see their opponent confirmed during the last 16 draw on Friday, February the 21st. The first leg of those ties will be played on either March the 4th or 5th, with the return fixtures a week later, people. So, yeah, Friday, we'll probably watch that draw together. Cunha's got a release clause, as we know. Other clubs may try to sign Matthias Cunha for less than his Wolves release clause, naturally. Who is this? Who's told you this? Is this Romano? Who is he? Ben Jacobs. I don't know if Ben Jacobs is credible, but I think suitors that are looking at Cunha, whether it's Arsenal, Aston Villa or others, they will feel that regardless of Wolves going down or staying up, there's a deal there to be had in the summer. And that may not necessarily be specifically by triggering the release clause. They may be able to work around its ballpark to get a slightly more preferable deal, which, to be fair, would be music to Arsenal's ears. Where we are concerned, people, don't forget, people, 3 p.m. I'll be here with Jess. It's a chance for me to actually shut up and just ask questions for a change. So, yeah, make sure you join us then. What we got? Match officials confirmed for Arsenal trip. Let's have a look at that. Player told Newcastle could be ideal destination. Arsenal and Liverpool come with additional pressure. I mean, there's pressure at Newcastle, but I just saw Mbeumo's name. Let's see what's being said there. Let's see what's being said here. Brentford star Mbeumo should ignore potential interest from the likes of Arsenal and Liverpool and instead move to Newcastle. That's according to this Cameroonian football expert. The 25-year-old's got 14 goals and 4 assists in 29 games. He's already surpassed the 9 goals he managed in 27 games last season and is in course to beat his 6 assists. Why is Newcastle a better option than Arsenal and Liverpool? And Mbeumo has many suitors this season thanks to his performances. The names of Liverpool to compensate for the future departure of Salah or Arsenal are often mentioned. However, I think Newcastle would be a good destination for him. And Newcastle would be a great destination for him. Isaac, him, Gordon, forget about it. You wouldn't want to buck Newcastle. First of all, he would pass an obvious level. Newcastle has been fighting for European places for 2 years, which is not the case for Brentford. In addition, at Newcastle, he would certainly arrive in the shoes of an undisputed starter because on the right side of the team, there's not a player who stands out. A bit harsh to Jacob Murphy, but fair play. However, at Arsenal, where Saka is unshakable on the right, or at Liverpool, where Liverpool have Salah, the best player in the championship, the expectations would therefore be very high, which can add additional pressure. Pressure is a privilege. In terms of match officials, our friend Craig Pawson, we meet again. So we know West Ham are getting a dodgy penalty. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. So, yeah, that's the referee for the West Ham trip. Well, West Ham's trip to our place, better yet. So, yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. No one don't really care about our injury status right now. If I'm honest with you, smash the like button. We still ain't got 100. You lot violating, man. What's going on? Big up you lot you have. And Mbeumo, best move is Newcastle guaranteed starter. I hear it because he can play on the right. But at the end of the day, if Newcastle go to the level they're going to go to, competing in all trophies, you're going to have depth. Arsenal and Liverpool have the same. Pressure's a privilege. If you want to be an undisputed star, you have to make yourself one. I do think Newcastle's a good angle for him. We probably get Nico Williams, Zubamendi, and Sesko. Honestly, seeing's believing. When I see these guys, and if that's the 3 top choice targets Arsenal want, by all means, go for these guys. But don't tell me we tried when the window closed. If you ain't got a striker, I don't want to hear about we tried for Sesko. If you ain't got a centre mid, I don't care what do you have to say about Zubamendi. Not you personally, of course. And the same goes for Nico Williams, because as good as I think these players are, is Zubamendi Busquets? Is Sesko Cristiano Ronaldo as a striker? Is Nico Williams Lionel Messi? No, they're not. So go find other targets. Newcastle get a right winger, Lee's cooked. And they got an owner who's ambitious, man. But less about Newcastle, man. 65k is like £5 to Arsenal, but still takes the mick. Amen, man. No Michael Oliver, and we're fine. Personal terms, not a problem. On nothing ever comes of it like other channels do. We simply speculating on said BS. There you have it. There you have it. I fancy City to go through. I hope not. DG, you're torturing yourself at this point. All these journalists, like, it just gives us talking points, man. We know it's BS, you know, but gives us a chance to link up and speak about football. Zubamendi deal seems genuine. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't doubt Arsenal have genuine interest. They're talking with his agent. They're doing all of this. We've been linked with him for about 2 years. But until I see the player holding the shirt, I can only care so much. And in Zubamendi's case, we don't know him as a person. But 1 minute, it seems like you're going Arsenal, you're going Liverpool, you're going Bayern, you're staying at Sociedad, you're going Madrid, and then there's U-turns. It's boring. Wirtz would be a dream signing. He'd be the perfect player for that left centre mid position, giving him more freedom. He can get goals. He has the X factor. It'd be amazing, but cha-ching, cha-ching, ching, ching, man. If you ain't got the money required, forget about it. I'm so happy my club have come out and said this. What are you referring to? Dortmund lost to the bottom of the league. Do you know what? Yeah, Dortmund I said this before, yeah, just from an armchair, nonchalant kind of Bundesliga watcher. When you watch the Bundesliga, yeah, obviously Bayern are Bayern. They're always going to be them in it. Bayern Munich or Bayern Munich. But when you look at Dortmund, it's like you're trying to be Bayern Munich and you've messed it up. And also, like, you look at the amount of executives. There's too many chefs in that kitchen spoiling it. And Leipzig, if anything, have taken Dortmund's place in getting those players and selling them on, as you've seen. Quite interesting, man. I like Gittins. And I guess on one hand, these players all cost a lot of money, especially for Premier League clubs. One more season for me. I might miss the boat. One more season of significance. Then we can talk about this 70, 80 million quid. You're talented, lad, but I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. Chelsea had a bad man with a similar promo, and we had Sterling. Same thing at the end of the day. But I don't know if I don't know. You'd have to ask Chelsea fans, but surely a bad man at Chelsea was better than what he was at Sterling. What Sterling's been here. But to be honest, they ain't going to come out and say that they can go if they don't get European football, as it will potentially devalue players. It's the evolution of life. I don't think Newcastle fans, if their players are wanted by the top, the bigger Premier League clubs, it is what it is. If Saliba and Real Madrid flirt with the Salibas, or as we've seen at Arsenal, the Barcelonas, where Cesc Fabregas and Henry are concerned, even Man United, arguably the biggest team in the Prem. Once Real Madrid came for Ronaldo, safe. This is the evolution of stuff. But Newcastle have a great project. They're clearly, slowly but surely, you know, getting around the PSR stuff. It's just timing. And we all know that the FFP and the PSR stuff is to cripple Newcastle, Nottingham Forest. These kind of clubs that are saying, do you know what? We've got ambition to kind of make a step up. It's to kind of protect the cartel, which is typically the top 5 and Spurs. It is. If I'm honest with you. What is going on? Why we never went for Mitoma is beyond me. I think he is quality. He just needs the right settings to be world class. Mitoma's a mad one, yeah, because if you're in a position where you look at Mitoma, bro, like Brighton turned down 90 million. Now, maybe it weren't the right time to sell him. Maybe they rejected it because maybe they wanted to accept it. Mitoma don't want to go Saudi. I don't know, but that speaks of the TV rights. I genuinely feel, maybe 20 years from now, like I genuinely feel. You see how it went from the top 4 to the top 6. I think you're going to see top 10. And maybe 20 years exaggeration, but definitely, well, I'm 30 in April. Before I die, I genuinely think we're going to get to a point in the Premier League where we go into a season. It doesn't matter if you're Arsenal, Newcastle, I hope not Spurs, but Spurs, whatever team, yeah. I genuinely think we're going to get into a scenario where we can win it, where anyone can win the league, anyone can get relegated, which sounds exciting on one hand and then not in the other, if I'm honest, man. Hey, what a player Remy was. I used to love signing him in FM. We need 7 to 8 players minimum in the summer. Will it happen? No. Dreaming, man. Dreaming, man. I don't know how I look at it, man, because like I said, for me at Arsenal, it's a twofold, man. I do think we stand in the rain and we're complaining about being wet. Like the manager said several times last year, whether he's to blame, the club's all to blame, we've got one of the smallest squads. The injuries we're facing merely just highlights that. None of the issues Arsenal face are anything new. Where it's when it truly matters, needing someone that can put the ball in the back of the net, the knock-on consequences for not having a bigger squad. Obviously, not killing games when we can and leaving it to refs that are going to go against us. I need us to improve that starting 11, man. If I don't see a striker and a centre mid, a winger as well, if I don't see them 3 positions addressed in the summer, I'm not really on it, man. I'm not really on it, if I'm honest with you. A lot has happened. Don't say anything to that number, please. Not sure what you're saying there, Queen of the South, but fair play. Newcastle standing on business. I F with that, naturally. And as a neutral, I know Newcastle. I don't know why Newcastle fans start on social media beef Arsenal, but I got a lot of love for Newcastle, man. And especially they did as a club that I'm not happy with our owners. Like they're a big club. I always say if you're a foreign fan, Newcastle's probably on a good day, because I'm sure there's been times it's not rocking, but on a good day, I'm sure it is. It's probably one of the best grounds to go to, give or take that and Anfield with, if you want to experience a typical Premier League game. And we all know the nonsense they had to go through with Mike Ashley. And to be fair, but if we can't win the league, and I ain't got no beef with Newcastle rather than our traditional rivals. I do have a bone to pick with you, Newcastle, though. Like, why can't you lot just, especially in the last 4 games, and definitely you lot got Liverpool soon, pretend it's Arsenal, because that's the only time I see you lot turn up this season. It's all love, Newcastle fans, man. There's a couple of you in the chat. And do you know what? On YouTube, I don't know what it is, but a lot of Newcastle fans seem to like rock with my content, man. DG, big up you, top show as per usual. Lion, you're always here. Appreciate that. I'm a man of the people, man. As long as I can serve and create value, man. Appreciate that. Money talks, DG. Also good environment at Arsenal. Don't get it twisted. I do think Arsenal could convince Isaac to sign, but they need a lot of dominoes to fall. Newcastle would have to say we're open to selling. We'd have to get something that makes sense to them. Then if you're able to do that, which is the only 2 things, I think you can present him a project, but we're not going to put the money up, and we're not going to tailor it in a way Newcastle want. And Newcastle would be smoking crack if they want to sell Isaac. Unless they're really affected by something. Isaac's the last one. Like, I'm not a Newcastle fan, and they're all of equal importance. But they would, in terms of getting through FFP, you got to remember, sometimes it's not always about sales. It's about shedding wages. Obviously, there's probably a couple of players, give or take. They just found 20 million euros for Lloyd Kelly, which Eddie Howe said I didn't want to do, but it's an offer too good to turn down. Fair enough. Lloyd Kelly, Juventus, movie, playing a lot more football than you're doing at Newcastle. They'll do them kind of smart. I don't know about their academy, but maybe there's 1-2 academy players. They will do all of that before they want to sell the big 3 or 4 in their team. And even if it came down to it, I think it's a bit. If I was a Newcastle fan, I'd be upset if they sold Gomares, because he reminds me of Gabriel at Arsenal in that, they're Brazilian, but like you'd think Gomares grew up in Newcastle, and you'd think Gabriel, grew up in Israel, and they're bare on it. But I think Gomares is one that, not that they've accepted, but he's always been linked with City and all these things. I think they're kind of mentally imagined he's gone. I think they'll sell him first. Tonali, it depends, because I only really see him going back to Italy, and they're not flush with cash. Isaac's the last one they will sell. Ekitike, is he better than Osman? At this moment in time, I don't think so, but sounds crazy, but Ekitike is actually the most similar to Isaac. His general play is good, but yeah, man. He's skinny like Isaac. And I remember Isaac's hold-up play wasn't necessarily the best. And now look at him. So you might have to take a chance. If we could get Tyler Diblin from Southampton, do that tomorrow. Like, I know Smith Rowe's gone and I'm upset, but that's the closest thing I'd have, man. Too much gambling. We must win next season. I can't blame him for going. You definitely can't blame him for going PSG. I just feel in today's day and age, young players, like if you, like, let's just say, I don't know, man. You see how we've got Ethan, or you lot have Lewis Millie, yeah? Let's just say, I don't respectfully, let's just say they came through, but they was at Birmingham in the Championship or League One or whatever, right? You play 2 games, you score a goal, you're a star. People are placing down bids, they're buying you. I do think there's some occasions where people have to, like, you got potential, develop first, get your game time, the move will come. It's even, somebody mentioned Neymar. People forget Neymar left Brazil at 23. Some, obviously, you can't really say people as talented as Neymar, but this was a man, you've all watched the documentaries, Real Madrid, he was training with Real Madrid at times at like 13, 14. He's clearly wanted by everyone. That's never happening now. You know, we will watch the youth championships. Any talented Brazilian, 16, 17, Real Madrid are onto you, 30, 40 million, bang. Where you can't even move over there until you're 18. It's crazy, man. It's interesting, though, man. And I just think the modern day is just too quick to do these things. And I'd say for fans, like, you look at Lewis Millie, Ethan Wanyeri, Bukayo Saka, like Cole Palmer, half of these guys, like everybody, all these guys that are Tell, Gravenberg, you're a good player. But it's like, people say you're a good player with potential to be world class and a goal and all these things. And they think, like, if you lot said that about me today on the Tuesday, tomorrow, Wednesday, you lot click your fingers and I'm that guy. And that's not how it works. Really, really and truly. You know, for terrible example, but for Lewis Hamilton to be winning F1 championships, he had to literally get a license first. I know you do go-karting, but you get the point. Big up Lee Gunner, man. Lee Gunner will be on, guys, shortly. Big up Lee, man. What, on my platform? Lee didn't tell me. Or you talking about him going live? Shout out Lee, man. Come on, 9 more. I'll buy chicken and chips for like number hundreds. There are talks of removing tax breaks from American sports teams' owners, so we might see KSC give in to maybe selling the club if it gets passed down by law. But they ain't selling Arsenal, man. They ain't selling it. They got a sweet gig. They've shown their patience. Like, they got their first little fingers in 06. They just got the club outright in 2018. They ain't going nowhere. Our only hope is some Saudi brother or Middle Eastern brother seriously puts down bread. Like, and just because they got bread don't mean they want to spend stupid bread. Like, make an offer that Arsenal can't, that the Cronkies can't reject. Because where we're at, it's a family heirloom thing, man. It's going to get passed down to Josh. It's probably in Josh's trust fund or his will. I don't even know if Josh has kids. I'd imagine. What happened there? Can you not hear me? He just said my mic muted. Hello. That's awkward. Hello? That's awkward. Mike is back. Okay, cool. I almost lost my trail of thought. There we go. Yeah. It's going to just get passed down, bro. It's just going to get passed down. Now, weirder things have happened. I'm sure Newcastle fans probably at one point thought Mike Ashley would never go. Cronkies are not going nowhere, man. They're not going nowhere, man. Appreciate that. I don't know why it said it muted and then it went to, obviously, you lot can see this mic. Obviously, technically, the laptop's got a mic. It just muted and started coming through or my voice was being projected through that technical difficulties, man. Remember them Dubai trips, people. People need to understand some of the richest Donnies are Arsenal. Bro, Arsenal's the culture club. Merch is coming out. Obviously, Arsenal were in this weird place in that you can paint a very positive narrative and you can paint a negative narrative, but we're kind of there. It ain't gone left. Obviously, Mikel Arteta, latter stage Arsene Wenger getting Champions League, they're not moving. If they wanted to be winners in football, our football, we're calling NFL soccer, or they'll shout out Philly, they would have done it, bro. They would have done it. I'm not going to act like I know all their sports and stuff, but every day I'm making streams, or every now and again, you lot come here and say, oh, they're NFL, they're NHL, this one, they won this, that, the other. They don't care, bro. What I would give them is they're very smart businessmen. They saw the angle, because forgive me if I'm wrong, them man were here before FFG, and to be fair, I think Liverpool had American owners before this FFG group as well. But they were the first kind of American dons either been advised or done it themselves that, we need to tap into the English game. Need to. And even if you haven't got English owners, the games are interlapping. Daniel Levy, American artist, Beyonce, this one, that one, NFL's there, can't not have it. Arsenal, obviously, we got a big presence in America. There was a couple of years, even now, we kept going to America. We keep going to America. Todd Burhey's involved now. City's different, Saudi money, of course. And let's be honest, There's a reason they didn't like Roman Abramovich. Whether I'm not talking about everything he did or didn't do, but there's a reason they didn't like Abramovich. There's a reason they don't like who owns Newcastle. There's a reason they don't like who owns Man City. Right is right, wrong is wrong. We can question morality. I think everybody's smart enough to know here. If you become a billionaire, then you've therefore got some skeletons in your closet. Bro, you know we're getting the halftime show and all of that, bro. It's gonna get mad, bro. You know we're getting that. We're getting halftime show. What would be Newcastle's derby? I don't even know what Newcastle's derby is, but that's gonna be played in Saudi or America. And I promise you, before I die, I genuinely think a North London derby is gonna be played in Alaska or something. It's gonna be mad. And on one hand, everyone watches football everywhere, whether you're foreign or England, but they're not doing it because they want to bring the game to everybody. They're doing it because it's a money thing. Sunderland. I'm an idiot, you know. Sunderland, yeah, I'm an idiot. Newcastle must be loving it. Sunderland in the dumps. Although even that, completely off topic. Sunderland got 1-2 good young players, you know, Bellingham, Chris Grigg. Someone could take a chance, man. Because that's another thing. I don't think the Championship's as strong generally, but you look at Eze, Elise, Bowen. There's plenty of examples of guys that have just been picked up from the Championship and they're doing all right. KSE got in when the Premier is really taking off and going global with the new TV deals, giving the whole world access to watch it. Exactly. And then you look at the stadium and that. It's over, man. Kendrick is a Spurs fan. I don't know that, man. You see why I said he's overrated? Don't shoot me. I think people are doing too much about his Super Bowl show. I think it was boring, but I think the message and everything was lit. I think he's overrated. I do think Kendrick Lamar is one of my favorite. He'd be one of my top rappers, but he's boring, man. It's boring. I can listen to 1-2 songs. I can't listen to a whole album. It's boring. And his ad-libs are boring. It sounds like a kid that has ADHD. He makes ad-libs like a kid that's got ADHD, that is their mom's had enough. They just locked them in a studio, gave them a mic and some creative keyboards and said, go do your thing. That's what he is. When are we getting the stream with Jess? 3 p.m. today, man. So in just over half an hour, we're going to be on my platform. Then we're going over to hers, man. All due respect to K. I don't know that, man. So question is, if the APT rules are illegal and City, Villa and Newcastle can spend whatever, is the sustainable model finished? When has there ever been a sustainable model? I'm not saying you're wrong here, but when has there been? Rules are there to be broken. The minute these things come out, us Arsenal as well, all of these guys are going to break these rules, bro. Nah, and I'm not saying we shouldn't adhere to things, be financially prudent, but it's almost like as an Arsenal football club, everyone else is doing one thing. We're trying to do the dirty. They're doing the dirty thing. We're just trying to keep our hands clean. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but at what hand do you say you can't beat them, join them? It can be a dumb take, you know. Oh, I disagree with you, so it's a dumb take. I like Kendrick, but I just think people say, you know, the rappers there, like when you ask someone their favorite rapper or artist, they want to say these guys just so it's like, oh, I know music at a deeper level. It's like if I ask, and I'm not going to say names, but some of my brethren are like me. They're 29 years of age. I promise you, if I call them, I ask them, who are your favorite footballers ever? Man, start saying Eusebio and Pele and Garincha and all of that. Cool, you can say that. But you weren't there. You was watching documentaries, man. KSE don't spend nothing, bro. They're living. From a business point of view, if we remove the Arsenal cap and just accept them for what they are, from a business point of view, the Cronkies are living, bro. They're living. Not putting your money in, getting bare peas. Fans are you're involved in the sport of football anyways, which, if you deep it, our love for football is illogical. It's not in that when you deep it, unless a football club like burns to the ground and isn't sustainable anymore and all of that kind of jazz, yeah, a football team is going to be your one constant. Unfortunately, you're going to see loved ones die. You're going to go through puberty. You might move house, jobs, etc. Your football club's always going to be there. So I get it. But in any other walk of life or any other entertainment kind of thing, if you don't like something, you're going to stop watching it or you're going to go elsewhere. We always scream, as much as we scream Kroenke out, Arteta in, out, this one's not good enough, that one, how could they do this to us? Not doing this in Jan in the summer. I can't take it anymore. Bring on next season. We're here waffling online. We're going to be watching football clubs. People are going to be buying merch. For every one person that don't go and watch a game, there's like 20 million people fighting for that one ticket. It's crazy. Bro, bare skeletons in the club. Billionaires, they're beaky, man. Do you know how much bare fuckery they've done in third world countries and all of this? But you can't be an ethical billionaire. Like you can't be. Like you can't be. You had to have done some dirty things directly or indirectly. You could argue even to a slight degree a millionaire. Love in general is illogical. as I get older, I admit that as well. I think the only logical love is probably the one that you kind of have no choice. Well, you do have a choice, but on paper, you have a choice. You don't have a choice in that. You know, if you have kids, you know, your siblings, your kids, your mother, your father, them kind of things. There, you can fall in and out of love with your mates. For pause, obviously, you get it. Women definitely, like, there ain't nothing colder than in this life than when a woman don't love you no more. That's for another shit. Shit, man. Shit. Boy, it's fuck. Yeah, but we're going off topic. Materials are cheaper if you take them from war-torn places. Go and look at what's going on in Congo. And that's why I say, I'm not saying we're wrong here, but I do think a lot of people, we're going so left. A lot of people try and be like the ethics police. I'm not saying this right, but a lot of, especially when it's like normal people like me and you, and people see celebrities do things. I'm not saying what they shouldn't be held accountable, but it's always easy when you're not in. Fuck, he's calling me all these times. When you're not in that position, and if we're gonna say, if we're really gonna get into that kind of conversation, then you could argue that we should not have the facilities to have this conversation via the internet. I've got an iPhone. We all know Congo should be one of the richest in the world because of this. Ethical eating as well. We don't need, you know, if we were to really strip back how the food is delivered to the supermarkets and butchers and we buy it and all of that, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. Don't let the K-Dot stands find you. I like K-Dot, man. Big up Lee, man. I like K-Dot, but come on, man. You don't need to pretend he's a GOAT, man. I'd rather listen to Drake, but then I'd rather listen to Kendrick Lamar. I think I could listen to more Drake songs because they have little to no substance. I have to be in the mood to listen to Kendrick, man. What's that album? The one thing I give him, you know what? I always mix it up when it comes to albums and mixtapes. The one thing I'll give him is it Good Kid, Bad City or something like that. That's one of my favorites. But then they become washed, man. One thing is true is that Moreno's his best mate. It could be his best mate, man. But how far does that go, man? Let's go find the next. Is that man? I'm done. Yo, DG, do we need a third goalie? I'd imagine so. Kroenke's net worth has overtaken his wife's ever since he built the spaceship stadium. Ain't his wife like part of the Walmart family? So that's like Asda and that. And if you know, you know. Their money's long. Like, whoa, billionaire money's long anyway. Their money's long. And they're probably making more. Like, the money's long. Shit, it gets dark, bro. We've all been there. Can't eat, can't sleep. I ain't gonna lie. I could eat and I could sleep. But I would say for me, you're constantly thinking about them, and you constantly, you know, when you can't, like, you have to accept the situation for what it is and you can't do anything around it. That is what kills you. And you're reminded of her by anything, innit? Like this phone, oh my, she had an iPhone, like, and then it gets dark. You go out, you meet other people, you do the savage thing, but you see, once it's done, boy, time is a healer. What I would say, if anyone's going through that, time's a healer, and don't let your house get too quiet, because when it gets quiet, it gets very loud. And charge it to the game. All them buzzwords, charge to the game. It is what it is. Just keep saying that. Not getting married is a blessing. I think for our generation, yeah, if I'm honest with you, it is, because I mean, marriage has always been a business thing, innit? Even if you go back in the days, which I weren't there, like you can see several historical things, you know, whether it's even in the country I live, England, a lot of people weren't getting married because, oh my God, you're the man of my dreams or you're the woman of my dreams. It's, oh my, I am the prince of this castle. Over them sides where we don't have an alliance, they've got a daughter the same age. If we marry, then it's a link up. It was all of that. Or in some cultures and whatnot, if you didn't have enough cows and enough whatever, you couldn't even be involved, which is sad. But it's a business proposal. As much as you romanticize getting married, like, apart from, yeah, spending the rest of your life with that one person and all of that's good. But what is there to be gained from it? Like, really, you should just sign the paper. And big up the women out there, but it's for girls. If I'm telling you, if man them could just go there, sign a paper, a 1-2 picture, show them out the game, would have done that. No man wants to spend however much grand on an engagement ring, on a marriage ring, on the hall and all of that. No man wants to do any of that. Some men are doing that and their wife's cheating on them. Like, it's crazy out here. Crazy. Scary. It's treacherous, man. Crazy, 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 crazy. Would you take Mudryk after the ban if he is for a reasonable price? Nah, G. There's nothing you could do, man. There's nothing you could. Thank the Lord we dodged that bullet, man. If those who want to spend are allowed to spend big, then no way our owners will keep up. They're not on it. They have their way, and that's what they want to do, innit? Like, that's what they've got. They've got their way. They're not changing it for nothing. That's why Arteta's going to have to really exhaust the mistakes that he makes off his own back away from the Cronkies, because we're going to have to try and win stuff in spite of the Cronkies, because they're never going to want to win. If we won the league last year, I think we have the same summer we have this year. They're comfortable. They're complacent. It is what it is, man. No, don't get married. Trust me, I speak from experience. Damn. Listen, wait. I don't know, because I'm not really on getting down on one knee. Like, if I could just pass it on the table, I hear it. Would you try living at Atlanta? Get me to 1 million subs. Anything's possible, my guy. Things are possible. Things and stuff are possible, man. How much money do you think KSC have pocketed from Arsenal? I don't know, but I really don't know. I don't have a clue, but a hell of a lot. And it's chicken change for them, really. They're making more money doing other things. They've got more money. This is just it's literally a billionaire's playground. You know, I live in London. Like, London is, obviously, I've seen different sides of London, but you see, when you got money, like, forget billionaire money, like well-off money, and then you can factor in billionaire money. See, when you've got all of that, brother, London's different, you know. It's a playground. How much money do you want to bet all of the KSE business, other business ventures, or when they're trying to tie up loose ends in other sports, they're probably saying, oh, come to London, man, come watch an Arsenal game. They're in the nice boxes, you know. With a culture club, you might catch, even though someone said Kendrick Lamar's a Spurs fan, Kendrick Lamar will box you. You see my picture of 21 Savage, shout out 21. Like, come link up with them. It is where it is, man. Like, I've stopped, to a degree, I've mentally checked out. There's two things I've come to accept. Whether I like Arteta or dislike him, he's not getting sacked. And the Cronkies are not going anywhere. So how do we work within these contexts to have a good time? I pray every day that a Saudi don says, Arsenal, I'm going to sign you. I'm surprised that we haven't randomly been linked with Dangote anymore. Or what's the don that owns Apple Music? Not Apple Music. What's the other one? The other one is what I use, Spotify. Make sure you're following on Spotify, by the way. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. Keep getting the milk for free. You're going mad. I nearly got married to a Colombian. Thankfully, sense prevailed. I big up Colombia. I'm even mad. Don't get lost in the sauce. Don't get lost in the sauce. If we win the league, stay humble thing will be iconic. I see the PR vision. Brother, if Arsenal somehow turn this around against Liverpool, which isn't going to happen, I am going to be unbearable. Do you know I'm going to rewrite history? What do you mean Arteta won the league with Mikel Moreno and Kai Havertz as strikers? Two 17-year-olds. You know how much remixing of history I'm doing? I'm remixing everything. Remixing it. Which is why they can't let us win the league. Ek doesn't have enough money to buy Arsenal. I know, but I sold myself a dream, man. I know I'm a hypocrite because I always say don't bring back ex-legends for no reason, but he's talking about bringing Henry, Bergkamp, Vieira. I want to do this, I want to do that. Realistically, half these guys, they probably got some business interest and they're just getting hyped by linking themselves with that. If we were to ever win this year, I would look at it as redemption for letting that year Leicester won. I swear that year, every year, decision was going their way. I can't lie, man. I hear you, but for me, it would be redemption. What year was it? 06, 07? It must, well, the 06, 07 season. No, it must have been 07 because Gallas was here. St. Andrews. Is it St. Andrews? Wherever Birmingham's ground is, in it, Gallas was not only wearing the number 10, being a 30-year-old man with a Mohican, a permed Mohican at that, a permed Mohican wearing the number 10 shirt, doing what he's doing. That's what I need redemption. All right, Gallas, the worst footballer to have played for Arsenal. And I'll stand on that. I can't lie, man. I can't lie. I hate him. I hate him from a footballing point of view. And he's a sket as well, but you play for Chelsea, Arsenal, and Spurs. You can't trust you. And he's a mercenary. He was a good centre-back, a good defender, in his prime. Definitely, technically not the worst to have played for Arsenal, but because of that reason, you are fucking shit, mate. Absolutely. He's a see you next Tuesday. But on that, though, people, I want to give you a lot of breather before I obviously go live at 3 p.m. with Jess, which is just under 30 minutes. I don't know how we got to these topics, but it's always a pleasure to be here with you lot. So make sure you're liking, you're commenting, you're subscribing, tell a friend to tell a friend. Big up you lot for being here. It would be pointless, wouldn't it be, man? So yeah, content, you know what you need to do. Turn on the notification bells. Make sure you're following on TikTok and all that. And most importantly, I hope you and your families and loved ones and all that stuff, you're all in good health. Hope you all have a good rest of the day, man. In a bit.